Hogwarts Legacy. This is our dream come true. Coming to Hogwarts, going to classes, making friends, being the witch or wizard we want to be. Except we're actually starting in our 5th year. So no, we won't have the traditional Hogwarts experience. We are a late acceptance. It is a dramatic arrival. We are quite famous apparently in the school, and we don't really know much about what's going on with the main character. So today we're going to talk about 4 different explanations for why we are arriving as a 5th year in Hogwarts Legacy. As always on WizardPhD, we are diving into some Wizarding World lore, and one of the questions I had was whether we know anything about late bloomers at Hogwarts. Basically, is there anyone else that's like us in the Wizarding world? From a 1999 interview, there was a question, will there be or have there been any late blooming students in the school who come into their magic potential as adults rather than children? Granted, in Hogwarts Legacy, we're an older teen, not yet an adult, but let's check out the answer. No is the answer. In my books, magic almost always shows itself in a person before age 11. However, there is a character who does manage in a desperate circumstance to do magic quite late in life, but that is very rare in the world I am writing about. Okay, so what? I'm sorry, there's a character who does this later in life? Can you please explain? And I'm not the only one. In 2007, there was another question during a webcast where the answer ended up being, I'm sorry about this, but I changed my mind. My very earliest plan for the story involves somebody managing to get to Hogwarts when they had never done magic before, but I had changed my mind by the time I'd written the 3rd book. Okay, so we don't have an actual example to draw upon in existing lore, but that's not to say that there haven't been others and we just don't know anything about them, right? Regardless, our arrival at Hogwarts is very, very interesting, and even the Wizarding World posted a blog that answers a very specific question about this. Why do I start Hogwarts Legacy as a 5th year? Why indeed. Needless to say, we suspect it's for a pretty important reason to be allowed to join Hogwarts so late. In the most recent gameplay footage released last month, it was revealed that our character will receive a field guide from the Ministry of Magic.
The field guide has this magical property of looking out into the world around you. And the reason why it's on loan from the Ministry of Magic and the professors have granted it to you as a late 5th year student.
Which will help us catch up on our studies. If the ministry is so eager to help us, surely we must be important. ... We have also heard in previous trailers for the game of an ancient knowledge long gone from this world, and how we possess a strange and mysterious talent that could unlock a dormant power. Okay, so our main character has a key to unlocking something very powerful. We're not sus at all. There's a lot of things that it could be, many of which in my brain are very bad, but this is not the speculation video for that. Before I get into it, I do want to acknowledge a popular fan theory that we are a descendant of Merlin, though that doesn't really explain why we are arriving to Hogwarts late as a 5th year. So the theories in this video have 2 important facts that are associated with them. The first being that we did not have any previous Hogwarts education, and the second is that we survived something, though we don't really know what that is. One explanation is transferring from another school after surviving an attack. In the Wizarding world, there are notable wizarding schools all around the world, but there are witches and wizards who do not attend these schools and are actually homeschooled. So one possibility is that we were homeschooled by our parents and our family was attacked, and we're the only one who survives. So with our parents gone, maybe somebody takes us in, if that's Fig, or if it's someone at the ministry who's alerted, and we are then sent to Hogwarts. Another kind of out there thought along this line is if we're coming from another school, what I was thinking is, what if we're from like a really, really small village or hamlet and we are actually in this community that intensively studies ancient magic, and that location was attacked because, I mean, clearly, wouldn't you want to know ancient magic secrets if people are teaching it, you know? So that could be a possibility that would definitely get the attention of the ministry. The thing that is kind of weak there is, well, why are we the only ones going to Hogwarts unless the explanation is that we are the only ones who survived, which makes it very grim the more that I talk about it. Another issue with this theory is that we need the field guide, apparently, to catch up with our classmates. So that doesn't really make sense for us to have magical education or training before we got to Hogwarts, unless the curriculum was so drastically different than what they taught at Hogwarts that we would essentially need to catch up because we don't know any of the basic spells. I don't know. This theory was first because it really didn't hold up as strongly as the other ones. Speaking of, the next theory is a little out there, but I'm just asking you to come with me for the ride because it involves time travel. So in this case, what we survive is some kind of magical incident that leaves us isolated and alone. And somehow, it could be an accident, we just get transported into 1890 Hogwarts. Which I don't know if it's business as usual, where the Quill writes in the book and it's like, oh, here's main character of Hogwarts Legacy. And it's like, all right, let's go to class, I guess. And not that I need accidental time travel to be on my list of worries as a witch in the wizarding world. Like, can you imagine you're just living your life and then something happens, you get scared, and bam, oh, you just went into a different time. But a more comforting, I guess, explanation is that we were intentionally sent in time somewhere to escape something, potentially by Merlin. I mean, I could imagine even before Merlin, like pre-Hogwarts, you're some kid who's just with some witches and wizards, and then it's like, oh, gotta protect you, let's save you. And then you just get sent into the future, I guess, and there was no Hogwarts. You don't have a Hogwarts education because it didn't exist yet. What if there was a school or something that was there before Hogwarts and that left behind the pensive? That would be interesting. Like, there was actually something there and then it got destroyed. And I'll just entertain it for a second. Let's say Daddy Merlin is a thing and he intentionally sent us somewhere to prevent something bad. I mean, whoa, I can only imagine the ripple effects that would have, but it could be a possibility, I guess. Obviously, if time travel had any role in who we are and what we're doing here, the Ministry would be very eager to keep an eye on us, help us out, maybe try to control us. They would be very involved. Like, you can't have time travel just out in the open for Wizarding Society to panic about, and they'll probably try to make us have an unbreakable vow so we'll never tell what really happened to us. Sebastian walks up to us and is like, hey mate, what's your story? And we're just like, oh yeah, we traveled through time and then we broke the unbreakable vow, dead, game over. Of course, my problem with this theory is that it is time travel, so my brain will melt and I'll have a bunch of questions and I'll spiral out of control, even more so than I normally do. Moving on to the next theory, which is that we were incapacitated and actually could not attend Hogwarts. So for example, maybe we were in a coma or we were just being taken care of at St. Mungo's, and if we did survive some sort of accident, magical or not, that left us in a condition where we couldn't attend Hogwarts, then maybe we were on the road to recovery and it happened when we were younger and it took some time and now we're ready and it's already our 5th year. Or, and just bear with me please, what if we were trapped in a statue? Or a portrait, or if somebody transfigured us into a paperweight and then somebody else came along and saved us. Can you just imagine what it would be like to come across a portrait who was like, hey, help me, I'm trapped, and nobody believed it and was like, oh, it's just, it's how they were painted. Although I feel like you would be able to tell the difference between a portrait and an actual person trapped in a portrait, or maybe like the portrait was held in storage for many, many years and nobody discovered it until it was like, I don't know, a late wizarding estate sale. And they're like, oh, I like this painting. Oh, there's a person in there. Let's get him out. And it's not like you can get out on your own. You would need someone else to get you, which brings me to Professor Fig. So y'all remember the book at the end of the second gameplay showcase that was super sus and we went into it? What if Professor Fig, in his research of whatever his specialization is, we don't really know much about Fig, but what if he discovered us and we were trapped in that book and he got us out. And there are a variety of different flavors of this, like trapped in a book or being extracted from a book situation. Like it could be something very, very dark and corrupt, like, I don't know, some kind of version of a Tom Riddle diary where you basically materialize a witch or wizard and it's like, wait, how did I do this? Is this a fictional person? Is this a real person? Is this like I took their part of their soul and I made them a whole person? This doesn't really make any sense. And regardless of whether we are a real person who is trapped in a book or maybe a real person who had an autobiography written and somehow we got extracted, I think the ministry would care very much about that. So the main like silly idea behind this is that Fig encounters us in some kind of book and that book is then taken to Hogwarts for study and we can go in and out of the book for some reason. But backing up in general with incapacitation, it's that you're a witch or wizard and you're basically just trying to get through a terrible situation, whether that's you're in a coma, you're trapped, you're in some kind of hard place and you get released or you recover and hey, you're a fifth year. What are you gonna do? You have magic. Let's go to Hogwarts. And in this range of examples, even though some are probably more likely than others, maybe the book and the quill already have our name written down in there. And it's just that we couldn't actually attend Hogwarts when we were 11. And so once we recovered or we were saved or brought into a state that was not incapacitation, we were able to attend. And with any of this, I imagine that Fig is involved somehow. Either he is, sent by the ministry or is some kind of liaison between Hogwarts and the ministry to watch over us, or he's the one who actually saves us himself. And that's why he's the one who can take us in the carriage to Hogwarts. I don't know, there's a lot there, but there's also a lot of like, it's not quite as tight as I'd like it. So this final theory I very much enjoy. It's that we have this latent magic that is awakened, and that is caused by something we survive. And the reason that I favor this theory is because it more directly than the other three has squib or muggle implications, kind of like a superhero story. So we didn't have access to magic, and then something happened, and now we do. And specifically, we think that the incident has to do with ancient magic of some kind. So whether it's an exposure to ancient magic or some kind of protection due to ancient magic, maybe it's a dragon attack because ancient magic is imbued in their hides. Not really sure. Basically, a global event, some kind of acute situation makes it so that the latent magic within us is able to be recognized. And this is, maybe it's something subtle that it was always there. I'm imagining because the Quill of Acceptance is more sensitive than the book, I can imagine the Quill starting to write our name down and the book shutting, being like, no, not that kind of magic. That's not magic, or not really recognizing it. So I could definitely see us either being non-magical or being kind of different in the sense of how our magic resides within us. And I could totally see that after that magic is awakened, we have the Quill eventually writing our full name in the book. And then it's like, oh, hey, we should invite this kid to Hogwarts. Oh, but they're also a fifth year. Is this right? Oh well, just invite him in anyway. We'll have him catch up. Or if someone's like, hey, this thing is broken, maybe we should send it to the ministry for inspection. And then the ministry looks at it and they're like, we should keep an eye on this. So more specifically with the story, we have an event that activates our strange and mysterious talent. Perhaps this is initiated by Ranrock as a side effect of his corruption and manipulation of ancient magic, and we see the creatures that are corrupted. We know that he is on a mission. There's a goblin rebellion happening. And it is also possible that this is an event that was initiated by an unnamed character that we don't know know of so far. Maybe it's a descendant of Merlin or Morgana or some other faction. We still have like these dark witches and wizards that are out and about. What if it's one of them? So this could mean that the awakening of the magic within us was very intentional by someone who is planning to use us potentially as a pawn. Now, this could be part of the Goblin Rebellion, but it could also be part of a larger uprising that we may not be aware of. Oh my gosh, is the Statute of Secrecy at risk again? Someone call the SOS Task Force. And of course, this situation would absolutely catch the attention of the Ministry of Magic, whether it's part of the ongoing investigations for the Goblin Rebellion and other activities they have, perhaps in the Department of Magical Law Enforcement. They've different leads kind of interconnect, and we're part of that. We're in that web. And this is also one of my favorite theories because there's a lot of entry points for a lot of actors to be involved with different end goals. So for example, what if another character in Hogwarts Legacy wants to have us have access to ancient magic so that we can unlock the dormant power of ancient magic in all beings around us, like magical and non-magical. Can you imagine the implosion of the Wizarding Society if everyone had access to magic and everyone was just hurling ancient magic at each other? I mean, at that point, you don't need the Statute of Secrecy. The Wizarding Society would be destroyed. Plus, if we're an intentional byproduct of Ranrock's doing, I can only imagine the conversations between the Ministry and Hogwarts staff to try to figure out, what do we do here? You can't just hold a child hostage in the Department of Mysteries to try to study ancient magic. Okay, so let's just use them to tamper down on the rebellion. They have no idea what they're doing. You're just gonna let wild and uncontrolled magic out in the world? We can accept them into Hogwarts for more structured training. And let Ranrock find them at a literal stronghold of ancient magic? No. Look, with your cooperation, we can accomplish everything. So we just need your help to help them catch up. We will do all of the training and have some supervision. We have your former employees who can report back. It'll be good. I mean, I guess, what could possibly go wrong? Jokes aside, I love imagining all the possibilities and conflicts that may unfold in Hogwarts Legacy. Let me know in the comments down below which of these 4 was your favorite theory to explain why we are a 5th year late acceptance to Hogwarts. Was it that we were a transfer student? Was it that time travel is involved? Maybe we were incapacitated, or we had some magic awakened within us. Also, I would love to hear any of your theories that meet the 2 conditions that we had no Hogwarts education prior to our arrival and that we survived something. There are many possibilities for what we could have survived. And if you're watching this post-launch, you might know the answer, and you probably can just laugh at me in the comments of all the ways that I was wrong. Just put them in there down below. I'd like to have a good laugh after the game comes out. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, Juan's ready.